everyone. Good morning. Debra here, and I'm glad that you are on this journey with me. Thank you for being here. Today I am going to talk to you about the New Mexico State Park Pass. Frugal RV Gal and I spent 3 entire months using the New Mexico State Park Pass. I'm going to tell you what worked, what didn't, what it cost, and what it saved us. Stay tuned. Alright, while I do this, I'm also going to have to look at a spreadsheet that I created because it's so much information and there were so many different prices that for me it was confusing, but I think for a lot of people using the New Mexico State Park Pass is confusing, and I hope I can clear some of that up today. And the price that we paid was for, of course, out-of-state residents. The price for in-state residents is different. So I'm going to share with you what we paid, but as always, be sure that you look up the information yourself because, as you know, things change, and just always be sure you do your own research in addition to what I may tell you today. Okay, so my eyes are watering from allergies. I apologize for that. But I'm going to also be looking at that spreadsheet while I talk to you. So sometimes I will be looking at my screen and then sometimes back at you. And I hope that is not too distracting. So first of all, let me share with you that we stayed in 6 different New Mexico state parks throughout the summer for a total of 12 weeks, and that is actually it was 84 days. And so the math and the numbers and the cost and everything that I am going to share with you reflects that. Now, it's not a review of those 6 state parks. You can go and watch the videos that both Frugal RV Gala has done on her channel and that I have done on my channel about some of those state parks, and I will list those in the pinned comment and the video description below, so you can check those out. This is about the New Mexico State Park Pass itself. And the 6 parks that we stayed in was Blue Water Lake, Heron Lake, Cimarron Canyon, which is part of the Eagle Nest State Park area, Story Lake, Santa Rosa Lake, and Sumner Lake. And we went from one to the other, and we stayed the maximum 2 weeks at each. So we were there from early July, right after the 4th of July is when we started staying in New Mexico, and we stayed through September. So the New Mexico State Park Pass for us cost $225. But first I want to talk to you about just the camping fees and the camping savings. So for those 6 campgrounds for that 84 days, the regular cost would have been $1,072, and we got an $840 pass discount. But it wasn't really a total savings of $840, and I'm going to share with you why. And I will factor in the cost of the New Mexico State Park Pass for you in a moment. And I also will tell you a little bit about the parks that we stayed in and what you might want to be aware of when you're making reservations. That is one of the main things that I loved about using the New Mexico State Park Pass, was that we were able to do everything online, and that was really nice. We purchased our New Mexico State Park Pass online, then we were able to make our reservations using that online. We didn't ever have to have an actual card and check in with that card. It all worked seamlessly and flawlessly, just electronically and digitally. The reason that it wasn't a total of $840 savings with the pass discount is because there are always transaction fees. Now, Frugal RV Gal and I also had $20 each in cancellation fees because we changed dates a couple of times on different parks when we were first making our reservations. Remember that we made these reservations 3 months out so that we were sure to have a place to go each time because we wanted to test the system out. So we made these reservations well in advance, and when we were making them, we realized that we needed to change our route, and And then there was another time that they were draining the lake at El Vado, and we didn't want to stay there and were able to make reservations elsewhere. They were working on the dam. So for several reasons, we had cancellation fees, and that cost us an extra $5 each, a total of $17 every time you cancel a reservation through the system, because they keep the $12 transaction fee. So that's the other thing. There is always a transaction fee when you make a reservation and even when you buy your pass. We had a total of $134.50 in transaction fees for the summer. Now that sounds like a whopping number, but wait until you hear what it cost us per day to stay in New Mexico for 12 weeks, 84 days, 3 months, the entire summer. It is not bad at all. All right, so let me see if I can back up and kind of get this right. So, well, I am going to get it right, but I mean, kind of make it a little more clear. So the regular price for camping would have been $1,072. The pass discount took $840 off of that. Now, it's different if you have electric versus dry dock. For example, the discount is not as much when you're doing electric. When you're doing dry dock, it waives the camping fees entirely, but you still have the $12 fee. So you would pay $140 normally for 2 weeks of dry docking, but then the annual pass takes that $140 off, but you still pay the $12. So there are sometimes when we only paid $12 because we had dry docking, it looks like 1, 2, 3 times. And so that is something to consider. If you're going to dry dock the entire time, you can get by with just that $12 transaction fee. However, we did it in the summer, and there were times when we needed electricity. And so those sites for 2 weeks only cost us $68. Well, plus the $12 transaction fee. So our total cost, our total camping fees, was $380. By the time you figure in, we had a $128 transaction fee, and then we had the $20 cancellation fees. So $380 for camping. All right. So if I don't know how to make this any more clear. I wish I knew how to do a screenshot or I mean, not a screenshot, but to show you my screen and all that, but I don't. So just know that it is different for dry docking than it is for having electricity and or water. Most of the time we just had electricity. And that you always have a transaction fee. And sometimes that is different. There was one place where the transaction fee was $8 instead of $12. We don't know why. But you always will have a transaction fee. So the camping fees went from the regular price of $1,072 to $380. That means with the pass, the savings was, including the fees, was $692, and the $140 difference is the transaction fees and the cancellation fees. Okay, so that is a pretty good savings, and which means that our camping fee per day for those 84 days, the 3 months for the summer, was only $4.50 a day. And that is phenomenal. Now you have to figure in the cost of the annual camping pass itself. And that is, like I said, we paid $225. And even on that, there was a $6.50 transaction fee. So it wasn't just $225 for the pass. It was a total of $231.50. But even when you factor that in, the total cost for camping all summer was $611.50. which brought the camping per day total up to $7 per day. But even that, and most of the time we had electricity. We stayed in fabulous places. Go watch the videos. It was wonderful. The state of New Mexico is wonderful. The people were wonderful. We just had a great time. And I don't know where else you can do that for $7 a day. Camping per month, if you average it out that way with all of the costs, the annual pass, the transaction fees, the camping fees, even our $20 of cancellation fees, was $203, or basically round that off to about $204 per month. And that's pretty low rent, and also to be able to stay in fabulous places and do all of the things that we were able to do. So that's why I can highly recommend the New Mexico Annual State Park Pass, whether you're a resident and you get it for less, which I think is $185, which would make these costs even lower, but we paid the $225. Now, the things to be aware of, again, are the transaction fees. Those are always going to be factored in. And also, every time you cancel, you don't get that transaction fee back. Plus, they could charge you an extra $5. So here's the thing that I learned, is that if you have paid for a dry docking place, and it's only costing you $12, because, right, it was $140 for the 2 weeks. The annual state park pass it discounts the $140, and so you're only paying the $12 transaction fee, and then you go to cancel and you have to pay a $5 processing fee. Well, it cost you more to cancel. It cost you $17. Now, that's not true if you had electricity, but still it cost you $17. And so I get in that respect why a lot of people aren't canceling their reservations, and you show up and there's empty spaces and everything. And I know that there are other issues, and there's tons of videos and articles out there about the overcrowding and people making multiple reservations, and that there's a problem with that. But there's also a problem with having to pay more to cancel than there is to actually just leave the site vacant. And so that is a factor. A lot of the dry docking places, it was overrun with generators, and I know a lot of you out there use generators. You may have to for your, maybe you have a CPAP or a mobility scooter or something that you have to charge. But on Monday, I am doing a review of a Blue Eddy that can save you having to use a generator for all of that as well. So it was a little bit of an issue for me with the generators. That I go out into nature and everything for peace and quiet, and people ran their generators. I mean, if the quiet time was 10 o'clock, they were running them until 10:01. And if the quiet time was over at 6 a.m., they were running them at 5:59 a.m. So really you had generators all the time. And some of the dry docking was in parking lots, but you were surrounded by such beautiful rivers and mountains and everything that we didn't care. It was worth the trade-off of all of that for us. And like I said, most of the time we had electricity instead of just dry docking. I'm going to look at my spreadsheet here. We went from an elevation of about 7,800 feet where we were able to dry dock and be comfortable. But when we got down into elevations around 4,000 later on in the summer, as we made our way east toward Texas, we had been out west and we were headed east. So as we went east across New Mexico and down in elevation, we definitely needed electricity, and weren't able to pay the lesser expensive dry docking. But still, at maximum, we paid, again, I want to stress, $7 a day, including the annual pass fees, and $204 a month on average, and had the time of our lives. So if you have any questions, leave them for me below. And if you haven't seen the videos about our stay in New Mexico, please go watch that. I'll have that Blue Eddy review coming up for you soon, as well as visits with our friends here in Texas. And we've got Lollapalooza coming up and my event. But can't wait to see everybody at Lollapalooza coming up soon. And I will see you down the road, everybody. Have a great day. Keep on keeping on. Bye-bye.